All right, so hopefully you all know this guy by now. He's been on my channel probably more than I have.
Oh yeah, no.
Well, you are a phenomenal representative of Brinkley, and this is Brendan. He has probably given me guided tours on at least a couple dozen Brinkley floor plans over the years. And we want to go through this factory. So I have not yet. This is Model Z factory, right?
Yeah, this is plant 1. This is where Model Z's
I've never, well, sorry, I don't want to say I've never. I was here when it first opened. It was the only factory here.
A lot has changed since.
So we're doing what's called a turbo tour. We're gonna get through this thing all in one video, try to keep it around 10 to 12 minutes. So we're gonna probably rush through this, but hopefully you all see a lot of really good information. I'm trying to practice how to make my videos a little bit quicker when it comes to tours, because I can turn a tour into like 13
dude, we could
videos.
be out there for 4 or 5 hours if we wanted to.
Yes,
no
just
problem.
like we did with Model G and Nate. Yep, but a lot of passion goes into these products. We're going to kick this off into a quick Model Z tour of Plant 1. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so we are at the beginning of the line, and we are going to try to make this a walking tour, because between the two of us, we could make this like a 6-day tour, and we're not going to do that. Now, I know that you guys prep pretty much all your plumbing offline, and you don't do it on the RV, right?
That is correct. So, and that's honestly goes from station 1 to the last station. A lot of stuff is prepped before it ever hits the line. So like up above us, our tanks, they're drilled, the fittings are in them. The water lines are pre-crimped, ready to go. All the hydraulic stuff is ready to just be installed in the unit. So this is station 1, where tanks, hydraulics, your valves for the dump valves are going to go in as well. And then obviously we got a good view of the TCS suspension here.
I see grade 8 bolts on there.
Grade 8, baby, all the way around.
All right, so that's a bit important part, because there's recently been a recall by CURT, the manufacturer of this, that those should be upgraded, even though the number of failures has been like microscopically small. It has been probably a few dozen or so out of the tens of thousands that have been sold. So out of precaution, they are advising that you swap out the bolts from 5 to 8. They'll do it for you, all this, but on all Brinkley units that are going offline now, they're all coming with new bolts.
Yeah,
right?
we've been cleared for a while now, and that's kudos to Lippert for having such a small percentage of units that were affected, but making it right no matter what, knowing that there could be a possibility. So, and I did one myself. I actually was like, hey, I want to see, Mike and I wanted to see how long it would take and how hard is it. So I went out in the back 40, rolling around on gravel with hand tools, and it took me 35 minutes to change all 16 bolts, torqued with Loctite. So not too bad.
That's awesome, yeah.
And this station right here that we just walked past, this is rough wire. So this is where they're going to install our floor harness. So over there we have our harnesses pre-assembled. They're tested at the vendor. They're labeled at the end of every single wire. So that's one of those things when we started, I was like, hey, okay, what can we do to improve the product at the end of the day? Wire harnesses being one of them.
As an industry though, on all of your units, you're doing better from a wiring harness, wiring perspective than just about anybody else in the industry.
Thank you. We tried. And honestly, one, it helps us here in the plant if we need to troubleshoot, but even in the field, like if we have a situation that comes up, we can say, oh yeah, this is the colored wire, goes from here to here, here to here. It makes it a lot easier. Station we just walked by, that's floor set. That's where they're gonna actually install the main floor, lag it to the chassis, put the linoleum on, put the upper deck on, and the upper deck support. That's what's gonna happen. And that station right before it rolls back to where we see some interior walls. And got this big old mess dropping down on us. So
I love coming out here when it's an active production though, because you truly get to see all the work that's going into these things.
It does. It gives you such a better perspective of what actually goes on. I mean, there are guys in each station that have a specific job, and that's what they do, and they become professionals at it. So it is amazing to watch them work. So this is a cabinet shop area. We have it upstairs and downstairs, so that mez that just dropped is the cabinet shop from upstairs that prep stuff, and then dropped it on down. But over here, we got everything prepped, ready to go. And they'll actually work a day in advance, which is really cool. So today they're building for tomorrow. Tomorrow they're going to be building for the next day. So
that makes sense.
It keeps them ahead, and they don't have to like constantly be like, oh, we need another one, you need another one. So it keeps it efficient. So yeah, they're starting to set some of the interior walls. He's setting an island base. These are actually 3200s. Okay. Is what are being built right now. So the small steel island base, you see we got the rear base here and all the cabinetry. It's kind of funky. I always do the analogy of like, unlike a house, they're built from the outside in. RVs are built from the inside out.
Yeah,
you know, we want to
have to
and install as much before the sidewalls get set right here in this area.
You know, one thing that Nate had brought up on the Model G tour, and I love to see is the same here. The quality of lumber that you're using. It's not crappy, terrible lumber like you see, where it's got knots and a bunch of holes and stuff in it. It all looks really, really nice.
It does, and we do a lot of picking and choosing through the wood because no piece of wood's created equal. So getting rid of the stuff that is really knotty and doesn't look amazing. All the brass fittings, shut-off valves at every fixture. So yeah, this is where the wall will get set. You can see the glass in Asdale, and then we'll actually lag it up through the bottom side of the floor, and then the upper deck will fasten too. But I want to go up front. I want to show you something cool real quick on the walls. So sidewall fastening, as most of you watching and JD know, that it's one of the most, if not the most important things when it comes to your unit, because it's what gives it a lot of its rigidity. But here on our stuffed tube, so this is where the horizontal legs go, and then the verticals go to this bottom. And this is actually composite, like really, really dense plastic.
I remember seeing that on the Model G, where whenever you put that lag in, it's actually melting itself from that friction into this. And that's not going to split like wood will, because virtually everybody else in the industry throws a piece of lumber in there, and that lumber, the minute the lag goes in, it just splits it.
And then you're not grabbing anything.
Correct. And that looks like Sika Flex.
That is Sika, yep. So we do Sika along this upper deck rail.
So you have the wall that's adhered to the side with the flexible material, plus a composite material here that your bolts are going to go through, plus you have every spot going under here with structural screws.
Yeah.
Now that's awesome. That's the right way to do it. And like Nate said, nothing's perfect in the sense that there's never ever going to be a risk that nothing could ever have a problem. But the reality of it is you're doing things in a different way that is much better than what a lot of the industry is doing.
Yeah, we're trying, man. And that, like, small stuff adds money over time. Like that stuff is very expensive. But for something like that, where if it does split, let's say at the back, we don't know. And this is such a big peace of mind thing for us, knowing that what we're going into is going to be consistent every time. So trying to keep consistencies in areas where we may not. All right, so sidewalls set, rear wall set, grafters are going on. We'll go outside and check out the roof. All right, so this is a completed roof. They lifted it up, getting ready to go out. This is such a cool part to see right here.
Perfect timing too.
Yeah, and you can see the trusses. They're actually CNC routed so that, like, this is where the wires will go through. There's hardly like any staples or anything that could be sticking up to possibly grab a wire. They're glued with a really, really strong adhesive, way stronger than a truss, like a pneumatically pressed one that we used to use back in the day. But it looks clean. They're 10 times more consistent. And off she goes. All right, so the roof has now been set. You can see this guy's running the wiring. So we also have another harness for the ceiling. So he's gonna run that. Then they're gonna install the batten insulation. One station over, we got battens now installed. Then they're gonna lay the thermofoil over top, which that stuff is insanely good. I always have customers wrap their hand in it, and the way that it traps heat almost immediately is wild. So like you down in South Texas, where it's wicked hot, or if you're in the Northeast in the middle of winter, that's gonna help either trap the cool air in or the warm air in if it's the middle of winter.
Well, and the reality is I've actually seen this stuff that you use versus some that the other manufacturers use, and yours is much thicker and more woven than I've seen throughout most of the industry. So that's awesome.
I would agree. It's got it reacts like foil. You know, you can crinkle it up. The stuff I felt you really can't. But once the foil's on there, they'll put the decking. And a cool part about the decking is it's pre-routed offline. So we have a jig, and it shows where we need to route the openings for an AC event prior to offline. So normally we'd have to route it here while it's on the unit, which creates 10 times more sawdust. But now you can see it's already pre-routed. They haven't even cut the foil yet. So it makes the unit 10 times cleaner than what it would have ever before. But this station here, this is where they're gonna actually install the rubber roof material. He's sealing off the edges right now with Eternabond, that roof line to sidewall edge. And then they'll spread the glue, they'll pull over the rubber, and then it's actually interesting because they squeegee all the air bubbles out and pull it tight. But we have double stick on the side, so when they do pull it and push it down to the sides, that double stick holds it. So while they're putting rails and other stuff on, it's not gonna start to creep up and, you know, have loose area or bubbles in different spots.
So is the focus on less sawdust is better the same here as it is like all across all your units?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, so like these processes with the roof are everywhere in every single other plant. So like the same with blowing out and cleaning the unit before it rolls to the next station. It takes time, but now the guys in the next station don't have to work around more of a mess or, you know, create another one.
And it's not that there's going to be no sawdust. It'll be a lot less than what you typically see.
Exactly. You're not, we don't want them to get to the dealer and like every cabinet's full of sawdust. And maybe there's a little bit. And 5 years later, you know, I've talked to customers that say they still have sawdust falling out of their lights in the ceiling. So we don't want to have to worry about that from day one, which that helps.
Well, I can tell you, when I dropped the belly of my Brookstone, it was loaded with sawdust, and it's something typically people don't know about until they have to drop a panel, or they have to pull a light out. But it's a huge difference when you actually have to drop a panel on a Brinkley. You will probably be surprised how there's no sawdust, but you may never know that everybody else has tons of sawdust.
It's all hidden behind cabinet doors and walls that you won't.
Hey, it's free installation, man.
Exactly, baby. Exactly. That's a good pitch. I like that. I can't use it, obviously, but. So now we're down from upstairs. This is, they're setting slide boxes. So we talked about it right as we came in, but now they're actually setting the slide boxes. They have these big hoists that pick them up, and then they'll slide it into the opening right onto the room bar that's underneath where it needs to be, just like that. So they'll line it up, make sure it's square in the box so we don't have it kicked off to one side or the other. Run the wiring up in, fasten it.
Very efficient process.
They do. So I'm glad you're getting to see this, because it gives you a whole lot better of an understanding of what
it was 3 years ago that I was out here, and they just opened up the plant.
Isn't it so wild?
Yeah.
So these few stations, these are windows. So windows will all go in here. We'll actually seal them and put the exterior seal on them offline, so they just have to grab them and install them, and then put the garnish on the inside. And you know about the seal we use, the closed cell foam covered in butyl, no top seal. It looks beautiful. I've resealed it one unit in my life. I'm never doing it again.
Well, the reality of what you guys do is that virtually everything here uses seals as well as gaskets.
Correct.
Versus using a bunch of caulking and silicone everywhere.
100%, which honestly is a guaranteed fail if not taken care of or replaced every 6 months or a year, depending on.
Yep. And what I mean by that is you look at all these little areas. On most brands, you're going to see somebody run a bead of silicone or caulking around here, but everything here actually has an actual gasket, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I am getting in the way of people, so I need to stop doing that.
Oh, good.
This machine is going to keep moving whether I'm here or not.
That station right there that they're moving into now is seal test. So they're going to close the windows, close the doors, and then there's a fan on the inside that they fasten in there, and it pressurizes the inside of the coach. And then they'll come out here with soapy water, spray it around windows, baggage doors, anywhere that there's a possibility for water to get in. So if we see bubbles coming out, we know, hey, we have air coming, possibly a water intrusion spot. So every single unit, like there's one sole station dedicated to testing the seals. From this station to the one in front of it, which is PDI, is nothing but inspecting, cleaning. They're gonna seal the interior in some different spots on the roof line. But the unit, quote unquote, is like complete at this point, which is pretty cool. So we have all these stations that are strictly to test and make sure that by the time it rolls out that door, this thing is dialed in and ready to go. And
correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard this from other RV manufacturers as well, and I'm assuming it's the same here, that the more of these that you make, and the longer term you have the crews that are working on the same units that have been here longer and longer, they really perfect their specific task, right? When it comes to like roof work, when it comes to seals, and when it comes to installing windows and stuff, they get really, really good at it over time, to where, you know, at first they're really careful, really slow, but then they can gradually kind of improve their speed. But not only that, they improve the consistency and quality each time. 100%.
They do. And like when we're ramping up, and even now, or actually we'll go this way to the shaker, but even now, when we hire someone new on, they get trained for weeks before they like actually get implemented onto the line. Because one, you put one person in there that's not super sure, and then we start seeing stuff pop up down the line. So it's worth spending that extra time to make sure that they're ready to go before inserting them on the line.
Kind of like an apprentice system, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you're right. This is our shaker table right here. So this, every single unit goes onto this shaker table. So once they're done on the inside, they're cleaning it right now, because once it goes on the shaker, we want to say, hey, do we have any sawdust come out of anything? Do we have anything that's loose? So they're going to clean it up, get it all dialed in this station. They're going to roll it back, and this thing is going to shake the crap out of it for they do it for about 1.5 to 2 minutes, just to make sure that cabinet doors are tight, because it will rear its head pretty quickly right here in this station. But yeah,
it's kind of like the initial road trip.
Exactly. Yep. We were trying to emulate that and hopefully catch anything before it goes out of here. So yeah, every single plant all have shaker tables, and every single unit goes on, which is pretty cool. So this is just as PDI. The first station is going to be scales, so they're going to close it up, weigh it, get tongue weights, overall weights left and right. But yeah, they're just running through the unit, 350 point inspection, basically taking it on its first camping trip, using everything, flushing the toilet, running the hot water heater, running the stove oven, making sure everything's functioning clean, nothing's damaged or nicked. So when it rolls out, it is a perfect.
Do you guys use the tape system as well to kind of mark things that need to be kind of addressed?
We do.
You know what I'm noticing though?
There's not much.
Typically you see tape over everything on RVs, and I really don't see anything on the outside. There could be some on the inside. Would you be cool if we snuck onto a unit real quick?
Come on in here. We'll sneak on by here.
A random unit. We're not specifically trying to pick one.
Okay, we'll go into one.
We don't want to get in somebody's way either.
No, it's all good. We'll roll into this one right here. What's up, Jordan?
Torque wrenches. It's always good stuff.
Oh yeah. We even use snap-on torque wrenches, which are the best.
All right.
So here we are. Okay, I got one piece of tape.
You got the AC running in here as well?
Got the AC running. And that's on medium. I mean, it's...
Yeah, that's nice.
It's just a hum, you know? So yeah, this is this is a 2900, I believe, is what we're in.
So as an example of what I was talking about a second ago, tape. I found one piece of tape right there. Just to show we're not trying to fake any of this. One piece of tape.
And looks like we're waiting for some window trim.
Yeah, they still got window trim that needs to go on.
And remember, we're what, 3 stations to the end still, so it's still got, hey, 3 more spots to go until she quote unquote is ready to roll.
Yeah, no, that is
awesome,
they do a
phenomenal job of making sure everything's tidy and clean and is working as it should.
Well, Brendan, this has been awesome, and we were able to power through this in about 20 minutes.
Knock that out, dude.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. So guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more plant tours like this, well, we're going to do another one while I'm here, but hopefully you enjoy these kind of truncated, shorter plant tours, because between the two of us, we can make this a 5-day thing. Anyways, Brendan, again, always appreciate your time, brother.
Appreciate you guys.
Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we will talk to you again very, very soon.